Hello. Billups Omido here. I've been holding a series of mentorship and coaching sessions online, and I got a tremendous request after I published my first and second book. Recently, I've been putting together pieces of information, knowledge, wisdom, lessons, case studies, stories that I've gathered for the past 7 years. After high school, I had a dream of writing books, and I didn't know where to start. The good thing is that God's time is always the best. That means that some things can take time, but they are being refined. Just like wine, the best wine is that takes quite some time, tens and tens and tens, and even hundreds of years. And my time was 2026. My first book is Yes Leader, The Yes Leader: How Brave Leaders Drive Innovation in Teams and Organizations. For the past 7, 8 years that I've been in corporate, I've had an opportunity to work with a big organization, small CBOs, and just consulting with many organizations and companies. And my interest has been innovation management, which basically means as a leader and a manager, how do you bring creativity, innovation into teams where companies are making money to drive revenue up, and the organizations that mostly work with the nonprofit, CBOs in communities, how do you bring impact and outcomes quickly? My second book is called Black Tax: Kill It Before It Kills You: How to Navigate Poverty, Relatives, and Money Trauma. My third book is Youth-Led: How to Drive Innovation Amongst Young People and organizations, churches, mosques, or any person that works with young people. I'm also writing books about office politics, about spirituality, about children's stories. So I've written many books, and some of them are being published and being printed. And most of the books, just go to Amazon.com. You can order my book. After receiving this request of how do I package information very quickly, I thought, why not? Why not come here and share the information? My name is Billups Omido. I'm an innovator. A manager in terms of innovation, creativity. I'm also a speaker, an author, and currently I consult with organizations and people, helping them maximize their potential and purpose to drive outcomes in their society. So let me go straight in. Why should you write, and how can it be easier for you to write when you're beginning? Allow me just to share this presentation. I'm going to take a few minutes. Your message must be uniquely yours. Anytime you want to write a book, don't copy any other person. Each and every person on earth has got a message that you're driving forward. No one has ever lived your life. No one. I was born in Mbale Hospital in Vihiga, the western part of Kenya. I grew up in Kisumu most of my life. I went to school in Nyanza. Some of you, if you're in Kenya, you know what that means. And then I came to university in Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya. I've had an opportunity to work in many counties from Mombasa, Kilifi, Kisumu, Siaya, Kajiado, and I've also had an opportunity to travel outside the country to Uganda, to Tanzania, to Malawi, to the US, to Abu Dhabi, to Dubai, to India. Having gathered all that information, I am not like any other person. I'm unique. My experience is unique. My purpose is unique. My goals are unique. Everything that I do is unique. And therefore, when I combine all the lessons from my parents, from my school, from my purpose, from work, my message is so unique. There are things that I've learned that makes me unique. So the combination of your background, your failure, your insight, your culture is not repeatable by any other person. When I bring all that message, the intersection is a book. And my first book, The Yes Leader: How to Drive Innovation, came basically from what I've experienced in the field. I was able to study many managers who are micromanaging, who are always saying no to ideas, and I've come up with a template, a Bible, a message for them to know what to do. And that is the purpose that I wrote this book. The second reason why you should write a book is because you have one clear transformation that you can only bring on earth. So books reaches millions of people, some of the best authors, just like the Bible. The Bible is the most published books and printed book in the world. That book transforms billions and billions of people on earth than any other thing. So if you're a speaker and you are in Nairobi, you can only gather maybe 1,000 people and reach 1,000 people at the sound of your voice. But the moment you write a book, you reach millions from Asia, from North America, from South America, from Africa, from wherever you are. And that book brings transformation. Lastly, whenever you're writing a book, when you want your message to be unique, speak, don't preach. Readers reject authority that lectures. Don't tell people what to do. However, embrace the voice of a friend. Whenever you have a friend, you don't have authority over them. You don't have power over them, but you are vulnerable with them. Share your stories. People learn from stories. People learn from vulnerability. Be very specific. And it's only that you're able to bring conviction. So why should you continue writing? The world is waiting for your story. Every person is an expert of their own story. Every survivor has a story worth telling. The question can never be, the question can never be, when should I write the book, or I don't know how to do this. The question I'm asking you today is, are you willing to be vulnerable, to be specific, to share the transformation that your story can bring? So this is the process. For you to be a good writer, you must be obsessed with reading other people's books. Read fiction and fiction, read about money, read about relationships, read about marriage, read about sex, read about children's books. Read. We always say in the leadership circle that any person who reads leads. But if you want to be a good writer, if you want your book to be read, read. You read about other people's stories, how they narrate. You read about linguistic styles. You read about how they paint pictures, imagery, and all that. The second thing is think curiously. Be very curious whenever you want to write. Curiosity, I know, killed the cat, but also to the human beings, curiosity does not kill you. What curiosity does, it opens your brains and your mind. And then 3, just write. Write those thoughts in a book, just write. And then lastly, be bold to publish. Publishing is helping people know whatever is in your message. Now, after that introduction, allow me to begin by saying this. Currently in the world, many people who are making a lot of money on the internet is because of knowledge. So knowledge is your leverage. It doesn't matter whether you went to university, college, whether you got a Form 4 certificate or not, whether you went to high school or whether you have money, whether you come from poverty or richness or wealth, it doesn't matter. As long as you have knowledge, people are willing to pay some dollars to get that knowledge. So whatever you know determines whatever you earn. The wealthiest people don't sell time. In fact, they buy time, but they sell packaged knowledge. A book brings together knowledge that is permanent, that is scalable, and that is sellable 24/7. You can put your book on Amazon and make some good amount of money. I've put my book on Amazon just a few weeks ago, and people somewhere are beginning to buy whatever I'm selling online. I'm selling a message, and that is a message about innovation, about leadership, and about management. There's nobody who can package the message of innovation and management like I do. And so I'm making some money out of it. And I've also been called by other organizations and companies just to share the knowledge that I have. So there's something unique about yourself. You're just a new mother. You've gotten your kids. There's something that you know a hack about motherhood. You know a hack about architecture, about building. You've been through abuse. You can tell people how you overcame that. You know how to manage a bit of money, or you've struggled in debt and you've come out to write a book about it. Number 2, authority commands premium prices. Whenever you are an expert, you can make 5 times to 10 times more. So be an expert at something. It doesn't mean that you should not generalize. Like me, I'm a generalist. I can paint, I can draw, I work in corporate, but I'm also an architect. I can build, I can write poetry, I can do all that. But there's something I'm really now working on is about innovation. I want to be an expert when it comes to innovation globally. Right now, in organizations, anybody comes to me, everybody comes to me when it comes to creativity, scaling ideas, outcomes through innovation. A published author is automatically positioned as an expert or an authority. Your book is your most powerful business card. 3 is reach without limits. A conversation reaches one person. Like here, I know I'm talking to tens and tens and tens or hundreds of people. But the moment I write my book, 1 month I've reached 100 people. The second month, 200. The third month, after 1 year, I would have reached 1,000 people. 10 years, more than 1 million people have been reached. A book reaches millions and billions across countries, generations, continents, time zones while you're sleeping. So, why don't you use knowledge? What you know is what you earn. Authority commands premium prices. Be an expert in your area. And then three, reach millions of people without limits. So I think I've talked about if you want to be a good writer, always read. Read widely. I always read about religion, about spirituality. I read fiction and fiction, children's books, biographies, autobiographies. Read widely. Read actively, underline, annotate, research. I can take a book and I read for a whole year because I'm just researching about a chapter. I go to the AI tools, I go to cloud, I go to Google. I want to know more. That is reading actively. Reading widely is many genres, a lot of subjects, but reading actively is you want to argue, you want to critique the content. It doesn't mean that when people write, they're always right. You can always go and critique their content. Research obsessively, be obsessed with research. And then lastly, be curious. Curiosity makes you to travel. You want to look at what are people doing in the US? What are people doing in Malaysia? What are the people doing in Philippines? So be very curious. Stephen King says, if you don't have time to read, you don't have the time or the tools to write. So what kind of books can you write? We call them self-help books. Those are books that motivate you, they can teach you a skill. And this is one of the highest selling categories. Like the book I've written, the one you can see at the background, it's called The Yes Leader. That is a how-to book. These are basically books about people who are experts. They tell you how to make money, how to manage money, how to be wealthy, how to manage stress, depression, those marriage books, relationship books. Those are non-fiction books. So one of them is self-help. The second type of nonfiction is memoirs, personal stories. Yeah. Biographies, autobiographies, your story, your struggle of survival, how you've made it, if you ever came from poverty, how did you make it, basically. People want to see you in that journey, but then they are like, okay, actually, I can see myself up. And as a Jonah up, I can see myself. Business and leadership books. I love that so much. How to make more money, how to improve organizations, companies. Novels now goes to, and short stories. Those are fiction. If you love stories, I remember in high school, most of my friends used to love a lot of fictions. Oh, literature. I love it so much. Yeah. Goku Thiongo, those people, they are doing a lot of fiction. So if you're a storyteller, if you know how to paint imagery, if you know how to bring people close, or turn that idea into a book. Academic research for universities, publish a book. It will be used in Harvard, MIT, University of Nairobi, Kenyatta University, Makerere, anywhere. Poetry and essays. I love poetry. Oh my God. You can actually create an anthology of poetry. Children's books, sells so much, very cheap. 10 pages, 15 pages, talk about, the story of the ogre. Yeah, when the kids are about to sleep, want to hear stories so that read for them the stories, they're able to sleep. Very good. But also we have digital books. So everything that I've talked about, self-help books, memoirs, autobiographies, business books, they can be digital books. Yeah. Now, the other types of books, I don't really want to call them books. They can be journals, they can be diaries, they can be how-to. Maybe nowadays many people are into fitness. So you can actually write something about how to be fit. Yeah. How to heal from a breakup, how to seduce a girl or something like that, or how to get saved. Something very short. It can be maybe 4 pages. Put it on Amazon, put it on Kindle, put it on Gumroad, put it on other places, Apple Books, Google Reads, where people can actually read all over the world. Make it, sell it $1, $2, $3. You can be able to make money from that. So what type of writer are you? Are you an expert? Are you so good at the thing that you do? So it means you've mastered something so professionally. And so you just need to put some structure into it. So that it means if you're a doctor, talk about medicine. If you're a lawyer, talk about law. So you're an expert writer. The storyteller is somebody who talks about stories. You love fiction, poetry. You love processing characters. You know how to paint pictures. You are bringing in imagination and creativity, the storyteller. And then three, we have the activist. You're right to change people's minds. So, for example, right now, the Gen Z is a big thing globally. So, why should people embrace Gen Zs at work? It means you're an activist. So, you have a rallying call where you tell people, let us shift from this type of perspective or mindset tuende kwa hii ingine. The memoirists, I don't know how to say that. These are people who basically they turn pain into universal wisdom. So they document a certain type of perspective or pain or something they ever lived, and then they want to create memories out of it. So somebody who ever lived during time of Mau Mau or when there was Gen Z protests in Kenya, and then you saw 3 or 4 people die. Like I remember 2007 in Kenya, post-election violence, I saw over 5 people being killed. I can relive that and then share a story. Okay. That it basically is, I'm writing basically a memoir of myself telling the stories of other people or what I was able to experience and how I was able to heal. And what is the rallying call that I want people to form? The researcher, I think we've talked about that, where you're basically taking data, research, evidence, and you put out points so that people can actually change. You can even say research talks about that if you reduce on carbs, the rice, the ugali, the breads, and just focus on proteins, you are likely to build muscles and you're likely to live longer and become healthy and lose weight. You can actually write a book from that type of point of view. In this book, The Yes Leader, I've taken research from companies where leaders who give opportunities to the people they lead to bring ideas, they are more likely to scale their income, revenue, profit, and outcomes and impact as organization vis-a-vis micromanagers who always say no, 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 no to ideas. And then the business pillar, that's basically about business, about sales and marketing and all that. So last point, how would you begin as an author? Start with one idea. For me, I began with what I knew, innovation. I scaled it to organizations just like that. You can actually say this book helps organizations to scale their profit from maybe 1 million Kenya shillings to 10 million Kenya shillings in a year. People read that and then build from that idea. Then number two would be apart from just beginning with a simple idea right before you're ready. I was never ready. It took me 7 good years for me to write, and it's only this year that I've published. And you know what kept me back? Fear. Fear. Perfection is the enemy of the first draft. Right now, I wrote my first book. It's on Amazon. The Yes Leader. The second book, Black Tax, Kill It Before It kills you. The third book, Youth Led. And then the fourth book is 15 Commandments of Office Politics. My fifth book is about moving faith. It's basically about questions about spirituality and Christianity. It's only when I started Friends, I've been able to move. We call it impetus. Your job is just to start small, be honest. You can polish later. Your first book can have a lot of mistakes, grammatical. You cannot know how to paint pictures, imagery, and all that. It's okay. Just begin with one idea and then write. Just begin to write, not when you're ready. 3, set a tiny daily word count. You can say, I want to begin with 300 words a day, 3 pages. For me, I always write a synopsis and then I go to a draft. I begin with 20 pages. It takes me a week to go to 50. It takes me a month to build to 200 pages and then I reduce it. So have a target daily. Yeah. Atomic habits. What is that one thing that you want to repeat every day? And then build the outline. So an outline is chapters. For example, this book, I want to talk about micromanager versus a leader who gives people opportunity. I want to talk about human-centered design, creativity, case studies. So begin from that. And then find a ritual. Do you do it at night? For me, I write at night from 10, 11, 12. There are days when I go to bed at 1, at 12 at night. So what is that ritual? Some of you maybe write when they're on the bus. I always have a notebook where I draw and sketch. For me, I'm an artist. I always draw first and then I interpret that into words. Where do you do it? Is it in a restaurant? Is it in a kitchen? Is it in the bedroom? Do you take a trip? Do you go to Mombasa, to the coast, to the bushes? Find where your creative juices come alive. Get feedback. So I've given this book to 2, 3, 4 friends and other strangers who have given me feedback. They have said, oh, chapter 4 is so long, make it short. So that feedback is very important. And then publish. Lastly, build your audience. Lastly, as I finish, get out your message. No one has ever lived your life. Your book will bring transformation. Speak, don't preach. There are some tools that you can actually use to help you write better. And I think AI is here to help you. So there's Cloud, there's ChatGPT, there's POE.com, Perplexity. Those helps you to research. I don't advocate for people to just give instructions to AI tools to bring out information or write a book. Begin, have an outline first, type it, and then what AI does, AI helps you to research. Number two, AI brings clarity and outline to whatever thing that you are doing. And then AI brings some structure to whatever you are doing. So you have a message. You gave birth when you are 19. Yeah, and you are now 30, you made it. You thought that giving birth before marriage or when you're young would hinder your dreams. And right now you're a lecturer. You've just come out of an abusive marriage. You're separated, you're divorced because you didn't have enough strength to leave that marriage. Maybe because it was abusive or something just happened or you lost your spouse. That story that you have, whenever you write it, you start healing, but you can help one more person outside there. You are out of debt. You've started a business. You lost your job, but there's something you've actually done. Somebody needs to hear your story. You are an expert. You've worked in an NGO, whether you've transformed your department. One more person in another NGO, World Vision, at BRAC, Save the Children, UNICEF, UN, WFP, Plan needs your story, how you're able to do community development. Or you've worked at Safaricom. You have some tips on how Safaricom helps people to better their world. And maybe you know how to do innovation. You want other companies to learn something about Safaricom. Please write that story. You've worked in cabin, you've been a nurse, you've been a doctor. There's something you know about health. You're an expert. You always train people, you always facilitate, you always go from school to school, churches to churches, mosques to mosques. There's a story that you're so passionate about. Please write your story. I'm here. 0716 is my number. Omido Billups at gmail.com. 0716 is my number. Omido Billups. Omido, OMIDO. Billups is BILLUPS. Find me on almost all social media platforms, especially on LinkedIn. If you want some coaching, some mentorship, if you have an idea, you don't know how to turn it into a book, I can help you. But you can write a book so that you can create a legacy of transformation and you can just be happy, change the world. Bye-bye. If you have any questions, hit me up.